Right, okay, what I'd like now to do is to get the panel to look into their crystal balls and perhaps look 5 years ahead at the threat landscape and how AETs will fit into that threat landscape. So, Klaus, could I start with you?
It was interesting. I was talking with the R&D guys and asked that, how do you see and can you make it better? And they said that, well, they tried on IP version 6, and all the evasions that work on IP version 4 work flawlessly also on IP version 6 and more, because IP version 6 is a new protocol, not that well tested, so there are more options there. We also see that you can combine different kind of evasions together, that's normal, but we also found out that you can actually combine them laterally or kind of within one attack. You can change the evasion on the fly so that there are several different evasions there. So it brings another dimension there. So it's very complicated, but from the hacker's point of view, opens new doors. And of course, what we try to do is, that's why we developed this testing environment. So we are testing simple evasions, second level, third level, fourth level, and we are going higher and higher. So currently we can say we have the best protection against that because we don't know that anybody else has this kind of testing tool. We think that cyber criminals might have something like that, or some militaries or nations. And it's also interesting when we are talking about cyber warfare, where does this fit in that scenario?
Spooky. Andy, can I ask you to look into your crystal ball?
Yeah. Well, I would hope that the other vendors will start losing market share to Stonesoft, and that will force them to fix the problem. What they need to start doing is normalizing the traffic as opposed to writing signatures just to block the individual exploits. And it's either that it is going to be market driven, I think, and it's up to clients to start either buying Stonesoft equipment or putting pressure on their own vendors to fix the problem. I would hope that they've all fixed it in 5 years' time. The only other thing is if evasion techniques start to be used more frequently as an attack mechanism, I think that would also force the vendors to start moving quicker at fixing the problem.
Andrew, can I ask you the same question? I mean, do you also see the attackers using the kind of their version of Predator to create their new attacks? I mean, are they industrializing their techniques?
Yes, there are. I mean, you know, there's a whole. So look at organised crime. There's a whole supply chain at work here. I can go and I can buy a malware kit. I take a 0-day, drop that into the malware kit. I've got pre-written Trojans for me, pre-written command and control routines. Hey presto, I've got a sophisticated botnet that I can go out there and create. At a kind of abstract level, you say this is an arms race, right? You know, for every sword there is a shield, and for every shield there is a sword. So, you know, will we have fixed the evasion problem? Well, we'll have a better understanding of the evasions we're talking about now. There will be solutions to those evasions that have been developed by vendors such as, you know, Stonesoft and things like that. But actually, there'll be new evasions that the adversaries come up with, right? So, you know, we fix a problem, we patch it, they find another problem, we patch that. You know, it's called the whack-a-mole game, right? And I don't think that's going to change anytime soon.
Thank you. Neera.
I agree. Actually, the answer to your question is yes. So it does fit in the threat landscape very much. It's a question of risk again, and a specific area, circumstances. Going back to your question about can criminals use the tool themselves or similar tools to do that? Well, absolutely. If you look at the Metasploit framework, that's exactly what happens. The goodies use it, the baddies use it also for the same purposes. Yes, very much in the threat landscape. I don't produce statistics myself, so I rely on others to do that. But if we look at the trends, customized malware is very much on the up. I don't see any reason for it to go down because, as you said, we discover vulnerabilities and then we fix them. We include them in our information security practices and tools and technologies and processes. But the criminals are ever more innovative, and we constantly have to catch up. So there is not ever, I can't see a situation where we would be ever over and beyond the criminals themselves, because it is their job to actually do that, and it is our job to try and second guess them.
When I was playing with well, I shouldn't say playing, when I was working with the Predator tool, I did notice that with some of the IPS, etc., what I would do is turn on the signatures, and every now and then when you ran a successful evasion through, you'd be picking up different signatures, like you maybe pick up on a signature for segmentation, and I did find that you could start blocking on some of those signatures to try the signatures that you wouldn't normally see on your average network, and you can start blocking on those, and it will prevent that particular combination. So, I mean, with the Predator tool, there's a thing called Mongbat. Am I allowed to talk about Mongbat? Anyway, it basically it runs lots of different combinations of evasion techniques, and I hope we did find that eventually you'd find another one that would get through. But what we try to do is look at a customer's site and identify whether there's other ways that we can try to block those the evasions getting through, or just make it that little bit more difficult. And the other thing I would say is, I was thinking about your question before about is the network device, are the network devices obsolete almost? I think even if evasion techniques become commonplace, I don't think they're going to become used obviously all the time. So you're still left with those residual standard attacks that people will still be using anyway. So you'll still be picking up all of those.
Andrew, any final thoughts?
Yeah, I think it's people need to get past the kind of shock and awe aspect and recognise that, yes, it's out there, yes, it's happening, but actually, you know, all an AET is about implanting something on the box, and it's the end point where you start to see and have the ability to detect it. And you know, we need to have a holistic approach. The vendors need to come together to recognise it. The community needs to come together to recognise it, and to understand that what's changed in this space is that companies need to start to value their information and their information assets, because that's what organised crime. Because, you know, if organised crime can't make money, guess what? They're going to go somewhere else, right? That's all organised crime are interested in, are making money, right? You're not being targeted because of you know who or what you are from an organised crime perspective. You're being targeted because they can make money, and if they can make that money easier somewhere else, guess what? They're going to go somewhere else.
I would also like to mention that kind of context-aware security would be nice. You know that if you make several layers of security, currently those layers, they don't talk to each other very much. And if you have an analogy of human immune system, I think Andrew uses that, there are several layers of protection before you actually get the virus or get infected. But these different layers, they talk to each other, and even if they find something that they don't recognize as anomalous, some of those layers will recognize, and then they talk back to those other layers so that they can start blocking, and it actually learns about new threats and attacks. I would like to see security community move into that direction.
For me, Ron, as you know, it's about risk management. So it's about risk management and understanding your assets. And at the end of the day, it's about making it as expensive as possible for the attackers to attack you. So it's not about outrunning the attackers, it's about outrunning who's actually more vulnerable than you, I'm afraid to say.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everyone, on the panel. If there are no more questions, there is another question.
Some years ago, we started seeing the first signs of Cisco devices as the network layer being attacked. Do you think we're going to start seeing the security device themselves being attacked as well and targeted? So rather than trying to evade them, you'll
yes,
try.
Yes, they are. Yes, it happens. You know, it's a device. They need to compromise it. It's not a question of will it happen. It is happening.
Yep. Okay. All right, well, thank you very much for coming. I've been asked to tell you, or to repeat to you, that if you want to know more, go to the StoneSoft stand, which is D21. Thank you very much for coming. I hope you found it interesting.